What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into another episode of Smart Money Sundays. We're going to go ahead and start off this week kind of in reverse order from what we usually do, and start off here on AUD Swiss franc. Now, this is a pair that we certainly took advantage of within our Funded Traders Club last week. It was a beautiful trade. Made a lot of people in the community a lot of money on their funded accounts that we've been able to pass for them. So this one really was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It was simply following the supply chain, right? The mitigation train on down. And if you don't know what mitigation train is, we talk about it in depth in our Smart Money course, right? But we were simply following each mitigation on down as structures trading to the downside. And so on Thursday into Friday, obviously we had hop out to the, I think it was the 6 hour I originally identified the setup on. It was a 6 hour time frame, right? And at the time we had this up close right here, which had traded into our previous supply. We had engulfed back down, and so then I was looking to scale in off of this 6 hour up close, and certainly we had the 15-minute time frame here. That last kind of flip zone, right, from demand to supply within this overall higher time frame up close candle. All right, and so you can see that, price traded directly into that supply and rolled over, right, ran out the lows. We had a sharp reaction back up to the upside, ran out intraday liquidity, and then we spilled over again. And there was actually another really solid opportunity Friday morning right off the up close here, which ran lower time frame highs as well. So lots of money made there on AUD Swiss franc last week. I am expecting this thing to continue on down to the downside following this structure. Go ahead and take out this old low here. This certainly is not a low in the market. All right, and so guys, we're constantly sending trades like these out, layup setups that meet all the rules to our Funded Traders Club that you can then copy and paste on your live funded account. So if that's something you're interested in, please send us a message on Telegram at ArielFX Trading. We'd be happy to get you set up with that. All right, so that's AUD Swiss franc. Now heading over to GBP NZD. I think I did talk about this on last week's episode. We've more or less just kind of stuck in this range the entire last week. But however, I am looking for higher time frame retracements now on down into our discounted area of demand. All right, so I think, especially if we get the right time and price, as price trades down into this demand here, we should be looking for accumulation to then take this thing long for another leg to the upside. Right, this is that level where we had relative equal lows. Right, we accumulated below those equal lows. We had that last reprice before continuing up. All right, so now it's simply a matter of getting the higher time frame retracement, right, and breaking out of this kind of lower time frame channel, right, getting that retracement and then the continuation. All right, so that level certainly is still valid, 1.9500, nice whole number to be playing off of. So keep that one on your radar. All right, Euro NZD. Again, very similar to GBP NZD. We talked about this last week as well. Just kind of been ranging here, right? After breaking out of the counter trend, right? Counter trend, the breakout. Now we've just been ranging, right? So it's kind of formulating that flag type of pattern, that continuation pattern. Now it's just a matter of getting back down into equilibrium or discount to take a continuation trade. All right, so for me, I'd really like to see us get down at least into this initial level here that we talked about last week. All right, preferably getting deeper into discount into our down close here at 1.7075, 1.7090. Okay, that kind of zone of demand. All right, so just sitting on our hands until that happens. Right, we're not going to be necessarily looking to buy and discount. Right, we want to see that higher time frame retracement so we can get another extension to the upside. So GBP NZD, Euro NZD, both very similar in that regard. All right, GBP CAD, right, continuing to kind of just trickle at the moment. I am looking for further upside simply because I'm not viewing this as a high in the market. Right? We really didn't have any sort of manipulation, any sort of buy to sell indicative of this being a top in the market. Right? And so any pushes lower than while these highs are intact, I'm treating as excuses, as retracements to continue to buy with the overall trend and momentum. Right? And so we are retracing now. We had that kind of sell off to end the week on Friday. And now I want to see it trade into one of two levels. Right, we have our previous high here that price didn't quite trade into, right? So that level is certainly valid. However, we also have a lower time frame area of demand here. Right? We had liquidity, had the sell to buy, right? Now relative equal lows here, and price never mitigated that down close, that sell to buy, right? So 1.65886 is going to be my first area of interest, right? This higher low, which produced the higher high. And if we do bust through that and run out this low here, right, then I certainly will be looking at this previous high as my next point of interest to look for accumulation to buy this thing into previous highs. Right, and then I think ultimately once these highs are taken out and the objective is met, we can then look at selling, right? And we also have relative equal highs here, mind you. Relative equal highs. All right, so once these highs are taken out, then we can look at, in my opinion, selling down into all of our pools of sell side liquidity here and here. Very clean equal lows on the higher time frame, which will get taken out once the narrative shifts and once that momentum shifts back to the downside. We're just not quite ready yet, and like I said, I'm not viewing this as a high in the market. All right, so keep these two levels on the watch list, on the radar. Let's see what happens, see what kind of reaction we get. Make sure we get the right time and price as well when price is trading into that level or into those levels for that valid confirmation. All right, AUD CAD, just wanted to highlight this one, was also talked about. We did trade into our lower time frame area of supply. We didn't get up into the 30-minute here, which I also talked about on Smart Money Sundays last week. Didn't quite get up into that, and that's okay. We simply respected the lower time frame level here, lower time frame, lower high, which produced that lower time frame, lower low, pull back into intraday premium for the continuation. So that really was a pretty simple, pretty easy, straightforward trade. And then we had a nice run on buy side liquidity here, right? Thursday, Friday, buy to sell, pull back, intraday premium, continuation. All right, so very simple stuff. I wanted price from an intraday perspective personally. I wanted to see price get up into the supply here. Right, we just didn't quite tap into it. Missed it by about 3 or 4 pips. All right, but if you took this entire level here, then you certainly would have gotten the fill. This entire area of supply could have been your secondary entry. All right, now price has run out clean equal lows, historic equal lows from December of 2022. We've run that out, and now for the here and now, a couple things I kind of want to see happen on AUD CAD since we are technically overall now bullish. All right, we are bullish. We took out supply here. Granted, we didn't close above it, but we did take it out after following the weekly time frame, trading into demand, potential higher low for a potential higher high on the higher time frames. All right, and so for the here and now, what I'd like to see on this one, I think it was the 4-hour time frame. Maybe it was higher, I can't remember now. Anyway, we are now trading into a pretty significant level of demand, which rests right below our equal lows, right? So I have it marked off with these purple lines. I would not be surprised to see some sort of reaction from this level. So this is going to be my first kind of point of interest where I'll be looking for accumulation. Doesn't mean I'm just going to buy it right off of this level, right? But I will be looking for the indicators on the lower time frame of accumulation to see if we can get some sort of reversal trade back in the overall direction of the higher time frame trend. All right. Now, if we bust through that, then I think the next price point that will magnetize price is going to be this 8835 zone. this previous high here within market structure, right, where we traded into supply, had the reaction, failed to create a lower low, and then price created the higher high. Then we shifted trend, shifted structure. Notice that price never pulled back into this area, right? And so honestly, I would probably prefer to get back down into this structural point as opposed to stopping here. Doesn't mean we can't catch an intraday trade or a reaction off of this level, but I do think overall price ought to come back down and account for this previous level of structure. All right, so that very well could be 8835, a downside objective for continued shorting opportunities as well. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens, right? Especially with this purple zone here. All right, so that's 80 CAD, CAD JPY. I do like this one a lot. All right, we had relative equal lows here, right, that were snagged, run out, sell to buy, breaking structure to the upside. So I'd really just like to see a pullback into discount. Pull back down into the down close here, 96.30 area for that continuation for another leg to the upside up into 100. All right, so that one's pretty clean, pretty straightforward itself. All right, trade back down into demand, more or less our flip zone here, right, where we traded into supply, had the reaction, that failed. We've now created a higher high relative to this high, broken market structure, shifted trend to the upside. So now we just need to be patient, wait for that pullback, and then the follow through the continuation after running liquidity. All right, so that's what we love to see, right, is liquidity runs, all right, especially on engineered equal highs or engineered equal lows, or relative equal highs, relative equal lows, and then the subsequent break of structure as the added confirmation. And in this case, we have that, especially on the higher time frame, which is even more powerful. So it's only a matter of getting back down for a continuation trade, back down into discount. So I do like that one a lot. Euro GBP, right? This is one that we've also been talking about for quite some time, and you'll probably remember last week I talked about this area of supply, this repricing zone, right, where we had that type 2 manipulation, sell to buy, reprice to sell. All right, so sell to buy to sell. We love that manipulative model, and so I wanted to get back up into this repricing. All right, we just missed it by a little bit. Doesn't mean we can't still trade back up into it. So I'm leaving that level marked off as valid should we run this up close, this manipulative candle here that ran out intraday liquidity at 8814. All right, so I have two areas, right, running out intraday liquidity here, especially if we kind of make a new lower low, then I would like to see the pullback. Here's your up close, pull back into there. And like I said, still leaving this as valid. So just in case we run through that, then I'd certainly look to sell it from there on down into our higher time frame objective, which is filling in this inefficiency here at 8650, higher time frame objective. All right, so that's pretty much still the same narrative, same bias there on Euro GBP. All right, USD JPY, right? We do have relative equal lows. Price action is certainly to the downside at the moment, and however, we are retracing, right? And so I do think price can finally get back up into our flip zone here, right, where we were in that uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, our last higher low demand. Price trades into it, reacts, fails to create a higher high, flips to supply. Price never accounted for it, never traded back up into it to mitigate. Right, and so now getting that higher time frame retracement, I would like to target this objective around 136, round number. And until then, I think we can look for potential buying opportunities from an intraday perspective. All right, and so in this instance, I would like to see intraday liquidity run out. We have our nice area of demand here, right? Our nice down close candles resting at 132, round number. So I certainly think this is a level to watch out for. Potential head and shoulders situation, run the neckline, trade into our demand, right? And then follow through back up to the upside to trade up into that 136 objective. So potentially 400-ish pips to catch here on UJ. I really do like the down close candle right here, but I'm certainly going to be waiting for a reaction on the lower time frames confirming that this is indeed the valid POI. with a lower time frame break of structure. All right. So I like that there on UJ. USD Swiss franc. Hopefully you guys remember I gave out this level multiple times on Smart Money Sundays. We tapped into it once, tapped into it twice, and have since sold off from there. You'll recall higher time frame, right? We have our relative equal lows here, and we also have perfectly equal highs on the buy side. Right, so we have buy side liquidity, we have sell side liquidity. I think once one objective is met, the next objective is very rapidly going to switch to the other. Right, and so should we run out the equal lows here, then I think we're going to flip and then seek out this liquidity resting above these highs. All right, so you should be break even if you're in the intraday setup from here. Should be break even at this point. Should have taken some partial profits off the table and then holding the rest down into 9060. All right, so pretty clean trade there on USD Swiss franc. Congrats if you caught it. All right, and then the last two for today, guys, AUD USD. I just haven't really been as interested in the majors lately, which those of you who have been following me for quite some time know I typically like to stick with the majors. I'm typically most comfortable with the majors, while Nate, it's a bit the opposite. He's more comfortable with the crosses, the exotics, etc. It just so happens that, the markets as a whole aren't ideal at the moment. However, the pairs that are making a little bit of sense are mainly the crosses and exotics. All right, so AUD USD, this one did play out nicely from the extreme POI that I gave out last Sunday, right? The 30-minute up close here. Got a nice wick entry on that. All right, so congrats if you caught that. You absolutely should be break even at this point, and taking partials as price traded into this demand, this higher low. And so now it's only a matter of breaking the demand, breaking the structure to the downside, and then validating that. That would be that added confirmation that we will indeed go ahead and run lower, take out these lows, take out this low, and then ultimately take out our flat low here. All right, and so we are still formulating bullish structure, which is the only thing that gives me pause, hence why I want to see us breach to the downside. And in that case, if we have that, then I think we should be good for intraday premiums and continuations. All right. So that's the overall bias. That's the narrative on AUD USD. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, and then Euro USD. All right, this one now has relative equal highs, right? As prices just continue to trickle up into our previous high from March, from early March or mid-March, excuse me, and so we have engineered liquidity now resting above these highs. Right, when retail traders are selling this double top and also placing their buy stops above these highs, right? So there's a large pool of money resting above the highs that we can look to target as smart money traders. And so now it's a matter of identifying the proper areas to be looking for continuations long. I did have this level marked off from last week, this London session manipulation, sell to buy, right? That created this intraday high. However, the only issue with this is that it created relative equal lows here on the lower time frames relative to this low, right? Perfectly equal lows actually. And so it wouldn't surprise me, right, if we got some sort of weird liquidity run, just ran lower first and then just snapped on back up to the upside to take out those equal highs, and then potentially spill over from there. All right, so that wouldn't surprise me, but we do have clean equal highs that we can look to target. So without a very clean, solid POI or candle to play off of, all that we can do is wait for the lower time frame price action and see if we get some sort of London session open or New York session open type of consolidation, and then sell to buy the break of structure, and then we can take that trade to the upside, targeting that buy side liquidity at 1.0930. All right, so that wraps it up for this week, guys. Some decent opportunities I think are going to present themselves potentially later on in the week. Nothing crazy popping out at the moment. We did catch some good trades in the latter half of last week. That'll kind of tide us over until the markets provide more clarity. All right, so if you like the way we do analysis, if you want to learn how to do it for yourself and be a part of our private mentorship, please give us a quick message on Telegram at ArielFX Trading. We'd be happy to set up a call with you and discuss what kind of customized solutions that we can provide for you to help you reach your goals. And also, if you're interested in the funding automation service, where we're going to pass your funded account for you and provide products and services for you, like our Funded Traders Club, where we're providing signals for you to actually make money from your funded account and keep your funded account. That's also an option for you as well. All right. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. And of course, we'll talk to you again this time next Sunday. Cheers.